Hello, hello, hello. Bye.
Finally.
Yes, welcome to Beyond Time Signatures.
Yeah, thank you.
How are you doing today?
I'm great. I'm great.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's get straight right into it. First question for you is like, when did you start playing guitar?
Okay, so I will first tell how I got into music because that plays an important role into
Yeah,
how I
true.
got into playing guitar. So you would be amazed to hear that I never loved music actually. I never used to listen to music.
Wait,
Like
really?
when I was a kid, I was a little kid, I like literally I didn't like anything at all. I don't know. I didn't have a love for anything. Like be it dance or music or any sports or anything. I was just never interested in anything. And then one day suddenly I found out my dad's old Sony Walkman music player, and its memory size was like around 256 MBs. That's it. And I was surprised to find that yeah, there were actually some songs in it. And then when I first checked those songs out, like the first song I put on was "Faint" by Linkin Park,
Hey,
and I instantly see like there's a thing like people don't actually like to such heavy music when they listen to it for the first time, right? But for me it was like instantly, like when I like heard Chester's voice, Chester screaming in that song, I was like, dude, this is something else, and I'm enjoying it. I'm literally enjoying it. So yeah, so that was how I got into music, and it was when I was in fourth standard. So I am very weak at math. So what would my age be?
I guess 12 years, 11 years.
Yeah, yeah, around that time. So that was the first time I discovered music, and yeah, so but then during that time, I was fascinated with drums. Actually, even till date, I'm still more fascinated by drums. But like Indian family, so parents didn't allow for drum kit back then. So after 2 years, I tried again for like this time I went for guitar. And the one song which made me like like some days it happens to you like that, right? Like you are sleeping and then you had a dream, and then when you wake up, like it's like yeah, I have to do this, like I saw this in my dream and I have to do this. So it was a similar case for me. So I was listening to a song, and it was What I've Done by Linkin Park, and the chorus lead that actually got me into guitar, and I was like, okay, one day I want to play this part on guitar by myself. And
That's
my
awesome.
that's how my interest in playing guitar came. And then I requested my parents thought, okay, this is another just a small
Hobby.
interest of mine, yeah, so it will soon go away. So they agreed to get me a very cheap guitar, like very cheap guitar, the local Indian ones. But then yeah, here I am now today, still not
Yeah.
giving up on guitar.
Hell yeah, man. Let's go. Let's go. Even my parents got me like a 2000 rupee Zuarez
Yeah,
acoustic
yeah,
guitar in the
same. Mine
beginning.
was also something around 2K or something, yeah.
Good times, good times. You
Yeah.
know, like when bar chords were difficult. Yeah, miss those
Oh,
days.
dude, don't
Miss
don't
those
even
days,
get me
man.
started on that.
And okay, so like, would you say Linkin Park was also your gateway into metalcore?
mm, See, gateway into metalcore, I'm not sure, but gateway into metal for sure. Because back then, how I used to listen to music, it was like I would just catch a hold of one artist, and I will just listen to the discography of that single artist all day, all week, all through the month, year. Like it was like that. So first couple of years was Linkin Park for me. I was used to listen to only Linkin Park and nothing else. But then people started suggesting me different bands. We should try this, and also at that time I got into A7X and Metallica.
Nice, nice.
So yeah, A7X definitely, like the earlier roots are in metalcore, but later like the part from
City
where
of
I
Evil.
yeah, City of Evil. But I think I discovered A7X through Afterlife. So I
Oh
think
wow.
yeah, I think that album was not metalcore technically, even though I think it still comes under metalcore. But Yeah. So you can say A7X got me into metalcore, but it was actually much later when I discovered Gent. That was a whole different phase. So it's still going on.
Yeah. So like my next question was that, like, when did you like found out about, oh, like metal can also do, like, chuggy syncopated staccato type stuff?
Yeah.
So like, was it through
Okay.
Periphery or some other band?
Yeah. Of course. Of course. But no. No. Sorry. I I may be mistaken, but I think it was Tesseract.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I heard Tesseract like way before, like when I was into my A7X and Metallica stuff. Someone showed me Nocturne by Tesseract, and like I was, first my first reactions were very weird. Like I didn't know how to interpret that. Like, okay, should I like this or is it really a weird song? I'm not getting how the song is being played. I don't even understand what pattern the guitar chugs are following. It was very tricky for me. But then it actually grew on me. Like over the time, I looped it over. But I didn't know it fell under the gent category. So I was just listening to it. But later, when I discovered Periphery, that time I got to know, okay, all these kind of bands are called gent. And I discovered Periphery much later.
Yeah, me too. Like, I think I discovered Periphery around P3, like when I heard Marigold
Ah,
for the first time.
I think I might have discovered it even later than that. I think it was around P4.
Oh, cool.
Like around P4, I'm not telling because of P4 I discovered them. It was around P4 I discovered Scarlet and the P2 album, and then I instantly fell in love. And then I
Yeah.
saw okay, P4 is just around the corner. So
So yeah, like, which is your favorite Periphery album and why is it P2? Just kidding.
ah,
Just kidding.
okay, P2 is definitely definitely one of the best albums. But I have told to many people like I actually like P3.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair
Yeah.
enough. Prayer Positions,
So
Obsolom, Marigold.
exactly. P3 has got some really iconic songs, and in fact, P4 to some extent as well. But for me, it's P3 because, see, I also look at the mix perspective of the songs. So for me, like P3 mix is even better than P2 mix, of course, obviously. And apart from that, see, what I like about songs is not just the heavy sections, but when the heavies are actually complementing the emotional parts of the songs. So I think that was best found in P3 for me, but some people might differ on this. So it's people's choice.
Fair enough. That makes me wonder, like, in what part of your timeline of
Yeah.
playing guitar you discovered, oh, there is such thing as producing, and I can make my own songs too, and I can record myself too. So like, when
Okay.
did that happen?
Okay. So it goes way back. Um, okay. So yeah, it was actually a huge credit to my friend. Like he's a drummer and he's been a long friend of mine. And how it goes is that like I saw him. I used to see him cover songs. He used to play drums, and he had a proper setup. Like his drums were there, all the mics were plugged in, and I always used to wonder, yeah, whoa, whoa, what a like beautiful sound quality he has. But whenever I used to cover songs, in fact, if you'll go back to my YouTube channel, the first video that you'll see, it's actually like a camera raw audio of me playing a guitar. So that was actually my first YouTube video as well. And that when I showed the same friend that video, he was like, "Your playing and all is good, but you need to now next work on your video and audio qualities as well." So that what actually got me into okay, so let's find out how I can make the audio better, how I can record myself playing guitar. And then from there it started. I think it was when I was, I think, 16 years old. That was the time I was given this what do you say, this advice. Yeah. And then I started discovering producing, and I'm still discovering it till date.
Yeah, I think that's a never-ending journey. Like
Exactly,
every few
exactly.
years, some like let's say the Buster thing. Like
Yeah,
Senior told me to use OTT uh,
exactly.
on yeah as a compressor. So like yeah, certain techniques and even the nollie trick to sidechain the snare with the master bus. Yeah, certain tips
I
and
do
tricks
that
like
every
that.
time.
Yeah, even I've started to do that once I understood what mixing was. Like yeah, I used to struggle
Exactly.
with EQ and stuff, but do you think like I guess even when you started out mixing, you must be also struggling with the leveling stuff and the mixing stuff. So do you
Yeah.
think like understanding the anatomy of a particular part of the, let's say a drum kick, let's say a kick drum, what are the main frequencies for a kick drum? What are the main frequencies for a snare? So like understanding that really, do you think it helped you elevate your mixes a lot?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Because as far as I remember, like when I started mixing properly, because just now when I was mentioning about covering other songs, back then I just learned how to record my guitars. That's it. I used to record my guitars over the like actual tracks. But later, I think it was when Joao started putting out his covers. That time I was like, okay. Actually, I had that idea years ago, but I didn't know how to do that, like covering songs from scratch, like programming your own drums, your own bass. But I never knew how to do that. But that's when exactly I found out Joao's channel, and from that actually I started to know that okay, there are VSTs which could help you to program other instruments as well. So that's when I got to know about GGD and all. So ultimately, yeah, coming back to your question, it took around, I actually started mixing properly in the COVID times. So it was really a very like I don't know, very dark times for all of us. But I actually tried to make it productive for myself, and I really like got into like the mood. Like I have to write songs now. I've been covering for a long time, but I now have to see like what I've understood after years of listening to all these songs. So fast forward, I started learning mixing in the COVID period, and then back then I just used to use the templates. I was just stealing the settings from what Nolly was putting in his YouTube videos, and that's it. But then later, when it got like really tricky, some places, because the main thing is that vocals are never same for anything, so you cannot steal settings for vocals. So that's when I like actually started looking into the like tweaks and other things like compression and uh, subtracting or adding frequencies just to make the vocals stand in its place for other instruments. I think that's how I figured out how to do that. And actually, it didn't took me much time, maybe around 6 or 7 months, because I've been doing it regularly. So yeah, I got it during that COVID period only.
Yeah.
But
So like
still,
yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah, but still,
yeah, so
huh,
I have never worked with vocals before. So like if you were
yeah.
to give me certain tips on
Hmm.
working with vocals like a step procedure, so like what would that be?
Okay, so for vocals, firstly, like if the vocalist is good, he understands how to send the vocals to the mixing engineer. Then then you are very lucky actually. But sometimes it also happens that they might send the vocal takes where there is a lot of background noise, and like you can actually hear the actual track playing through their mics, or the clicks actually playing through their mics. I've encountered such problems. So first thing is that you need to actually clean up the vocal takes, just like I think people also do that for guitars as well. But for guitars it's much easier. For vocals it gets very tricky. So cleaning up vocals is the main thing. And then the second thing, like the most important thing, so that your vocals sound very pro, I would say, is compression. So you need to dial in like the right amount of compression so that the vocals actually have that dynamic quality, as well as they sound like
Even.
even. Exactly. Yeah.
Cool. So much. What was that one song that made you think, oh, maybe I should get a seven string now?
Oh, okay. So It's one of the era songs. Right. I think it's Drift. Yeah, it was Drift. So like back then, I was always listening to these six-string songs, and then slowly, I started getting into modern metal and gent, and I started realizing, okay, now most of the bands are using very low-tuned guitars. Earlier, it was very. I never liked the sound of a seven-string guitar. Like anything below B, drop B, like I felt okay, it's too low. It's not even audible. Why people are playing these things, these notes and all. But now I just can't live without those.
Can't live before drop F.
Exactly.
That's amazing. And I think was it during the Graveview period that you discovered Invent Animate, your favorite band of all time?
No. So actually, I discovered Invent Animate through Peer. So Peer, I'm not sure if today is still as big as fan, but back then when we started following each other on Instagram, I think it was also around the COVID period. That time I used to see him share a lot of stories on Invent Animate lyrics and how their musical styles actually influence him. And so I thought, okay, I should give it a try. Why this guy is sharing this band so much? And I instantly understood like why like I just can't say like the way it made me felt the first songs though that I heard. I think it was from Gravy only, but I can't pinpoint the songs which I
And you know
heard
what's the
first.
funny thing? The same thing
What?
happened with me. I saw your stories. I saw you were posting
Uh,
like I guess it was Shad Ashtray and some other Juavo cover of Invent Animate. And
yeah.
then I was like, maybe it's a cool name. Let's check it out. And then
Yeah.
I heard Cloud Casket.
And actually, bro, like the name Invent Animate itself, it's so cool. Like
Yeah.
it's up my alley. So I thought, okay, I should give it a try.
That's great. I want to ask, this question is like for people like us, like who don't have very high-end gear, but still wanna try to get those punchy mixes and everything. So, like, do you have certain optimization techniques on your laptop that you do to save more CPU while you are mixing certain stuff?
Um, See, I'm not sure how to answer this. I don't have actually specifically, to be honestly saying, but earlier I used to mix in FL Studio, and I think there the CPU utilization was somehow like very high. I don't know how the things work in the back end, but I could never track guitars with all the processing on uh, put on my GGD kit and like all those things. So I had to track my guitars with all the plugins off, only my guitar plugins on. But as soon as I shifted to Reaper, like I don't know, Reaper is just so optimized. I don't know, like I can have all the plugins all the time, and it can handle it very easily. So Reaper, like the main reason of me jumping to Reaper was this thing. Like it has a very good CPU optimization thing. I don't know how it is working, but it actually made my job very easier.
Yeah, that's nice. And
Yeah,
you also used to play in your college band, right? In VIT.
yeah,
So, like,
yeah.
what kind of music were you playing there?
There also like we were into metalcore, but it was more like the classic metalcore side, like your As I Lay Dying, the older stuff, and some Kill Switch Engage exactly. And then we also played Metallica and uh, Lamb of God here and there.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
cool. And but I think VIT out of everything that I've heard, like VIT has the best, like metal scene when it comes to like
Uh,
college.
I would say it used to, because it's now gone. Like today, you won't see. In fact, like in VIT, the main reason I went for those competitions in that college was that I will get to see some talented people. And actually, before that, I had never seen metal being played anywhere. Like in my school, there was no option of playing metal. So I always stuck to the Bollywood songs, playing with the bands. And then when I got into college, I finally got into VIT, and there already knew about like how good the metal bands there were. So I wanted to see those bands in action. That's why I used to go into those competitions. But now, like what I've heard from my juniors and like the current music club members of theirs, like I don't think so right now there's any big metal scene going on in those colleges. But yeah, definitely, it gave us really good musicians.
I would like to emphasize more on that. Like, why do you think the case for Indian progressive rock and metal music is it where it is right now? Why do you think that's the case?
Mm, okay, so I would say this all comes back to the mentality. I mean, see, it's not even the fault of our generation or anything, but like before, like long time before, when just consider 60s, 70s, 80s. So there was no access. I mean, I would not say no, but very nil access to the international music to the Indian people. Like, I would say, like, for example, my dad, he used to listen to his favorite artist was George Michael's, and that too, it was in he was listening to his songs in around late 80s or 90s, like in his teenage. So I think that was the time when slowly music, international music started getting into our country. But before that, it was all Bollywood music, and that mentality actually got carried over. And you can see, like even in our Indian music industry, like right now, like even in this time, artists are coming up with their own albums and songs. But before, it was rarely the case. Like it was just because the artist has to write a music or sing for a song in the movie, he would do that. But I mean, just to keep it clear, I would say like the Indian music scene actually got this mentality set into our minds that uh, one is this, that yeah, this is the only type of songs that you hear, and that actually closely resonates with what you hear in pop music. So that's why people, when they tried something new, they instantly felt, okay, I can relate to the pop music, the next thing which is better after Bollywood. So I think that's why people gravitated towards pop more. But Indian metal scene, I'm not sure, but it will take some time. There is Indian metal scene, I agree. But what I have observed so far is that it's like people are too much into old metal or thrash metal or black metal mostly.
Yeah. And even in
So,
progressive stuff, I've seen a lot of great bands, but they, as a cover
yep.
band, not like I only know Flying Cupid that's
Ah,
doing
yeah.
some good stuff. Yeah, the
I mean,
vocalist is kick ass.
right now, some good modern metal and progressive bands are actually coming up. So I can see, like, I can tell, like the metal future for Indian people can be better in the coming years. I'm not sure, but I can feel that.
That's like I wanted to add on what you said. Like let's say 10 years ago, if you were playing some song from let's say Honey Singh or someone like that, and you would hear people saying, "Oh, which this song is from which movie?" And you will be like, "No, it's
Yeah,
from an album. It's not from a movie."
exactly,
So like
exactly.
the concept of albums and EPs is also still fresh compared to
Fresh, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So that's the case. And another thing, like the band stuff that you said, that the modern
Hmm.
metal, the stuff you said it's gonna pick up. So
Yeah.
that makes me ask you, like, can you tell everyone a little bit more about your band Dissonant India?
Okay, so Dissonant actually was the same project we started in COVID. It was with my like college band's vocalist only. So it was right when we discovered about mixing. And as I was mentioning a few minutes ago about the competitions I used to go for in VIT. So actually, we took part in that competition. The judges actually, after our performance, the judges actually gave us a standing ovation, and like they liked our stuff, but they unfortunately couldn't give us the prize because we only played cover songs. That's where we fell short, because all the other bands played at least one original song of theirs. So that's when it struck me that I want to write a song of my own, like not just for winning the competitions and all, but I want to. test myself, like
Just to have that
how,
body of
where
work under your name.
exactly, where I understand, like where I stand in understanding music and how to write music. So basically, just to take it forward, in fact, the vocalist also, his name is Gregory. He also had the same idea in his mind, and we always have the same taste in music. So it was like just a spark that we had to ignite, and we asked each other that, yeah, are you ready to start this new project? He was like, yeah, let's fucking do it. So that's where this spark actually ignited from there only. Like we lost that competition just because we didn't write a original song, and then we released an EP of 4 original songs. So
Hell yeah, let's go.
yeah.
So like in that process of songwriting, like obviously because like let's say for me, like I've been trying to write instrumental stuff for a year now, and i
Yeah.
i was not actually enjoying what I was writing. But lately, let's say the 3 4 months, like
Hmm.
whatever I've been writing, it's really starting to click. And
Hmm.
mainly for the structural intent and for the song to flow. So like were there any aha moments in your songwriting journey that like streamlined everything, and like the ideas were starting to flow one after the other without you having to stuck in a writer's block?
Not actually, to be honest, because whenever I start force myself to start writing a new song, I would always run around here and there searching for ideas and all. In fact, to be honest, like the first EP which I mentioned just now with my vocalist, the instrumental section is actually a lot of cut paste sections from different bands from where I understand, like which were my real inspirations during that time. So you will see there are a lot of familiar moments which you would see, okay, so this kind of thing was done by this band in this song. So you can easily tell that. So back then, I was just trying to do that. I was just trying to pick up the best parts of the songs and make it as my own song. But then slowly, I got to understand that, okay, why is it making that part so good? I mean, in my EP, like in our EP, it worked at some places, but it also didn't work at some places. So that's when I got into the surgical nitty gritty of that. Why in that song's context, why is this section sounding this better, but in my song it's not sounding that great. So I think that is ever learning process. I mean, I'm even till date when I'm listening to other bands and all, I'm still trying to figure out the same key moments, like why is this breakdown hitting this hard, even though it's not that, even though it's not that hard, but still it hits hard. So I'm not sure if you're getting that, but
Yeah, I get that.
yeah, so that's what, like, this is an ever learning process for me. I always try to understand how songs are written, and like what parts make them sound so huge or sound so good, and then I try to incorporate that in my writing as well.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's a great way to look at stuff, analyzing your favorite bands and
Exactly.
seeing what they do right. But I also follow-up question.
Yeah.
Let's say a lot of like people who have been born guitarists in the era of neural DSP, GGD, submission audio
Yeah.
might think that they have to figure out their sound first before they start writing.
Hmm.
Would you like to say something about that? That eventually with time, like even in your case, like how it takes a certain body of work to finally get or establish your original sound.
So yeah, definitely I know that thing, because in the first EP, Dissonance first EP, um, we just didn't have any sound. Like it was the first thing that we were going to release, and in fact it would define the sound. But that time neither did I have a personal preference of how I wanted to sound like, neither the singer, the vocalist Gregory, he had any choice of how it wanted to sound like. So we just wrote whatever came into our minds. But now, after listening to so many bands and I'm trying to get into the headspace of why I like those bands. So like for example, at the moment my favorite band is Invent Animate, and before that it was Architects. So Architects, like, the common thing that I found out in both of these bands is that I love how heavy it is, the music, but like how beautifully the emotional elements are also blended into that. So like, even though Sam Carter is screaming in the song, like mindlessly screaming, but actually you can feel the emotion behind the songs. So that what actually got me into, like, out of all the bands and songs that you will list out for me, I would say I like this sound. So then I would also want to try to sound like that. So that's how I understood, like, okay, then maybe I have to make this as my sound. But there is always a scope for like, I keep for myself, I always keep a scope for venturing out of the sound that I have right now. So I would just mention that in just next Saturday on 7th October, my EP is coming out, Escapist. So yeah, so the same thing you will observe there also. Like, I've tried to, with the heavy riffs, I've tried to add clean guitars behind, or the ambient stuff behind, just to make it sound more emotional. So that's how I found my sound, at least. But it is do like to like funnel it down, I would say just listen to all the type of musics that you have access to, and then try to see like where you are gravitating more towards. For example, for you, I know it's playing. So of course, that's how you will try to write your songs. But then you also love Ollie Steele stuff,
Yeah.
so that is something new. Now, if you incorporate Ollie Steele and Pliny, that is something impressive, and I want to see how you do that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I have some stuff in works as well. I'm planning
Nice.
to get it out before the year ends. Anyway, enough about me. Tell me more about, like, tell people more about Escapist. What the EP is, what are the emotional intent, like, what does Escapist mean? Why did you name it? And who are all the guests featuring on the EP?
All right. So last year, around this time, or no, I think it's almost 10 months ago. So I had to move to this new city, Bangalore, because of my work, and I had to leave my family and everyone behind, friends, everyone. I was staying here alone for a couple of months. Right now, I am staying in a flat with my college mates, but back then I was staying alone, so it was just work, 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 and sometimes I just used to play multiplayer games with my friends on computer. So what I'm trying to say here is that there was almost no interaction with anyone else in this new city, and I almost like felt alone. So just to keep myself occupied, I would just play around with my guitar, and then suddenly I started coming out with actually really good stuff, which I thought, okay. At first, my intent was to just to write a bunch of riffs, and I would just post them periodically on Instagram, like one riff, one minute riff I'll post today. Then after 2 weeks, I'll post another reel. But then I started realizing that, okay, these riffs are actually too good to be posted as just riffs. So I tried to convert those into songs, but also like the word escapist. So even in my work also, like, there is some unfortunate scenes going on in my work, and like I'm not actually working for what I applied
Signed up
for.
for.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, even till date, I'm really pissed at that. And in fact, I'm trying to help, like, I'm trying to call for help to many people in the organization so that I can get put up in the right place. But that's a different thing. But actually, that takes a very heavy mental toll on you. Like, I've been losing sleep sometimes because I don't understand the work, but still they are trying to tell me to do that, giving me deadlines and all. So just to escape from all these kind of work environment things, and just to keep my head free for some time and do something that I like, I just took the help of music. And in fact, not just listening to music, but keeping myself busy in writing that. So that's where the name Escapist comes from.
Yeah, so you took the negative energy and all the negative and channeled it into
Exactly.
something productive. That's wonderful. That's
Exactly.
amazing. Nice.
Thank you.
And can you tell us more about all the guests who are going to be featuring?
All right. So this guest thing, like, right when I started putting my videos on Instagram, I always had this thing that I want to collab with other people. Like, I think the first collab I did was with Lorenzo. Uh, Back then, I was covering the like full Architects album called uh, Holy Hell. Yeah, the Holy Hell album I covered in its entirety. And for one of the songs, I recently had just followed Lorenzo at that time, and I just asked him, "Dude, do you want to cover an Architect song with me?" And he was up for it. So, like, I have always had this knack of collaborating with different people, and so that actually came through in this EP as well. And as a result, out of 5 songs, 4 songs have features. So that's how it happened. So I think the first song, it's Dying Wish, and is the first uh, collab from, I think, in a long time I've had a lead guitarist to play on one of my songs. So like it's a really amazing solo, like by Mark. Like that guy, I just sent him the track once it was ready, and I was like, okay bro, do you want to play a solo over this part? I have left it empty for a solo. So he was like, okay, sure. Like he didn't even listen to the track and he was ready for that. And then after a week or so, he just sent me the tab file, guitar profile for that solo, and it already sounded amazing. Although it was MIDI guitars, but I couldn't wait to listen to it, like it in its entirety. And then after some time, he sent me the video of him playing that solo live over that section, and I was just like mind blown, especially that tapping section. I mean, dude, that's the catchiest part of that solo, and he's a beast. He's literally beast. And then moving forward from that, second song is called The Dichotomy of Gods. So in that, I actually wanted to have a vocalist because, to be honest, in India, we all know that we don't have very great clean singing vocalists or pitch screaming vocalists. So I was just looking for some guy who can do that. And that's when I met Sam on Instagram. And no one else like could do it better, like at least in my contacts could do it better than him. So I just reached out to him, same case, I just sent him the track. I was like, are you up for writing lyrics to this one? He was like, okay. And fun fact, this guy is so quick. Like if you get to work with him, like I think he was driving to his work when I sent him the track, and I think around like half an hour later he sends me a voice note of saying that I have the melodies ready for the entire song.
It's
I was
insane.
like, dude, what?
It's insane.
He was just humming the melody parts in that song, and I was already, dude, this guy's melody choices are insane. And then after a few days, like not even, I don't think so, it even took a week for him to write lyrics. Like the lyrics were ready, I think by second or third day, and then he started sending me like voice notes of different sections of how he's making it sound like, and if I have any thoughts. But obviously my thoughts wouldn't matter because he was obviously better at this than me. So it was all him on vocals, and I just might have suggested some melody changes, but those were very minute. This guy is insane, like Sam. He delivered on the vocal energy, intensity, and even writing. So hats off to this guy.
He is like, Andy Cizek of our group. Because,
Yeah,
like,
he's
he's
working literally with everyone.
exactly, and he's doing such an amazing job. And he has
Exactly.
this, it's. I like to define Sam's vocal style as, like he's neither like a clean singer, and he's neither like
Yeah,
he's at the perfect sweet
exactly.
spot.
That's what I was looking for. Like I've always heard like songs by architects. Sam's. I used to love how Sam used to do those pitch screams, like really high pitch screams, but it also had some note in it so that you can identify. Yeah, he's screaming in melody. So that's what I was looking for, and Sam did that. You can hear that in the second song, and after that, I think the fourth song is called Fossils, and in that, one of my college friends, actually not exactly college friends, but as I said, like I used to go for band competitions, and there I met this guy called Paul David. And in fact, he also did the artwork for this EP. He's an amazing guy. Like, if you also want to reach out to him for this artwork and stuff, definitely reach out to him. He literally understands what you want to do for that thing. Like, I didn't have to explain him much. So, anyways, coming back to this, I met him in, like, he was coming from one of the other colleges. He was in one of the other bands. We competed, and we really got along well. Actually, we had really similar music tastes. He was also into Periphery that time, and in fact, everyone was that. Basically, we got along together very like instantly, to be honest. And then we kept in touch with each other. They came to our colleges when we held some competitions. We went to theirs, and like this all happened. And eventually, like back then itself, I realized that he had a really good, clean voice for a metal band. So I was like, okay, I have to work with him at some point. And this was the song, I think. I was already planning to have two vocalists on my EP, and one being Sam, and the other one I was still not sure, but easily my mind went towards Paul. And this guy just delivered. Like, to be honest, I don't want to be biased towards any of the songs in my EP, but Fossils is my favorite track in this EP. So he really did a great job on the vocals in this one as well. And going to the last song,
The Australian
uh,
Armageddon.
yeah, it's Hope. It's the song is called Hope, and Jody. So as of now, I'm not going to reveal um, what Jody and Dylan will be doing, but you're in for a treat. I would say just that. Like with Jody, also it was the same thing. Even since I followed him way back, I think in 2020 or 2021, I followed him. I always used to talk to him, and I was always ready to do some collabs with him. But since he couldn't find some time at that time, it always used to like get delayed for some reason. And then finally, I thought this EP was the right moment when I would have him over in one of my songs. And then he also agreed, and this guy just delivered what I asked him to do. So insane. And the last, okay, I would say Dylan has given a guitar solo, and it's just that tone itself. Like I fell in love with that tone, that glassy tone he has of himself. But the solo, it's like I don't know what's up with all these Australians, man. Like
I tell me
they
about it.
they, they are just ruling. I mean, the metal
Yeah.
scene, dude. Like I don't know.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Every single Australian I know is like
Exactly.
unreal at the metal stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. That's so great. I'm very excited and I can't wait to hear the whole
Yeah.
EP.
I can't wait to show it to all of you.
Yeah, because I know you. We have talked about this. Like there was this one time where you said that there is a clean section, but you are not really sure what to do with it in the song. And
Hmm.
then, like a week later, you are like, "Yeah, my EP is finished. Now I'm
Yeah.
looking for people to have do some solos on
Yeah.
it." So, like, how, like, generally, like, do you think you have a certain writer's block where you are completely stuck? Like, whoa, wow, what do I do after this section? Or like,
Yeah.
eventually you figure it out.
It especially happened with the last song of my EP, Hope. I mean, I just couldn't start with anything. It was that bad for me. Like I was getting some ideas. At first, I was like, okay, I already had four songs on my seventh string. Let's have the fifth one on a sixth string. And one thing was already set, that I wanted the last song to be a bit lighter. So all the songs are a bit darker, bit emotional. It has that emotional feeling. But the last song, I wanted it to have some jolly kind of vibes, maybe some major notes here and there. And that was one thing which I had already planned in my mind, and that was set. But coming up with riffs and ideas for that thing was a really difficult task for me. Like I just couldn't come up with anything. And at one point, I just considered, okay, let's just drop it. I'll just go back to the same old, like the mood that I was going for all the other songs in this EP. But then I was like, no, that would be just like
Giving up.
serving the purpose of the song, like not even serving the purpose, like yeah, giving up exactly. So I just didn't want to do that. At some points even I felt that okay, four songs are fine for an EP, let's just end it there. But I somehow felt that ending is missing, because see, for me, whenever like even in future also, if I'm writing an album or an EP, I would always want to have the last song which is a bit softer, because this was taught to me by Lune in P3 by Periphery. So like that song hits like it is meant as like meant to be the last song in the entire album. And that's what like even I did with Dissonant. uh,
Even
Out of the four
satellites for
songs,
that matter.
yeah, Satellites as well. In our EP in Dissonant, the first EP that we did. So the last track is actually it's called Librosis, and it's a softer track. Like I think 80% of the track is on clean guitars, and the rhythm guitars, the distorted guitars just come in at the last section. So yeah, I think hitting writer's block is actually like a very natural thing. And at that time what I usually do is just I just want to get into the headspace of the type of songs that I'm trying to go for. For example, I wanted to have this song a kind of poppy dancey kind of vibes. So I went to my playlist and I started listening to the songs which had that kind of vibes, and like the groovy kind of vibes. And the first band I went to was Volumes. Like I till date, like I don't know how they come up with those grooves for each and every song. I mean, you can run out of ideas at this point, but those guys keep on delivering. So I just went to Volumes, and like yeah, some of the similar songs that I have on my playlist, I just wanted to understand how they're writing those songs. And then eventually it started coming together for me, and that's when I finally started writing the song.
That's crazy. And also, like, even after completing the EP, you also finished like a track or two, right?
Yeah, I did one, and that instantly like came as a I don't know, just
Just
out of
hit.
nowhere. It yeah, it just hit. It just came out of nowhere. I tracked it down, and I think the instrumental is ready, but I need to work on the mix. Fun fact: it will also have vocals, but I'm not going to reveal anything right now. It is set for something in the future.
And also, I would like to add this. Hritik, you also provide mixing and mastering services, right?
Right?
So, if
Yeah.
anyone wants to reach out to you, what's the best way they can reach out to you for that?
I do have a Fiverr profile up, but in case anyone feels like they cannot find out my profile or the link anywhere, they can easily DM me. Like I am very responsive. I can respond easily to anyone who DMs me, so they can easily reach out to me and we can talk.
Yeah, nice. So, like, if anyone wants to have the sound on Escapist, you know where to go.
Yeah.